Hello good people. So I want to say a very big congratulations to you if you just participated in the recently concluded public offer for sale of MTN shares, which was made to the entire Nigerian public. I think this video will be applicable to people watching in other African countries as well, because I think MTN did the same thing in some of those other African countries. Now, if you just bought the shares in MTN, I think you should watch this video to the very end, because I'm going to try to help you understand what you can expect in the next few weeks regarding the new shares you've just bought. Now, perhaps you are a retail investor who is just buying the shares in a Nigerian company for the very first time, or you are a seasoned investor who generally invests in the Nigerian companies. The most important thing here is that if you're not a day trader, then I think you should watch this video until the very end. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the gist of the matter today. So I'm going to divide the categories of investors who just bought into the MTN shares into two people. I would say the first set of people, as soon as they lay their hands on their shares, will be looking to make a quick profit. And who is to blame them for this purpose? No one should blame them, because MTN shares currently trades on the Nigerian Stock Exchange for about 186 naira, and you have just bought the same shares for 169 naira. So if you do the math there, you realize that by even selling immediately, you should be able to make some 8% to 9% return on your investment in the space of a few days. But I think a little caveat I'm going to add to that is that, now imagine everyone who participated in this offer for sale, or who just bought those shares, trying to do the exact same thing. What is going to happen is that you're going to have a deluge, right, of shares on the stock exchange, and there are going to be very few people buying it. And what that means is that the price is going to gradually crash over a period of time, and so you may lose money. Now, let's assume for a second that this is exactly what happens. I would say, please don't panic. I know it's difficult to see something you bought for 169 naira selling, for example, at the price of 150 naira. The initial reaction, may be to say, oh, let me cut my losses and move on. Nigerian businesses are scam, they are useless, and on like that, and just sell, cut your losses and move on. Of course, that's a strategy, but the moment you do that, what that means is that you then have locked in your losses. So I would really advise against doing that. I would say you should go back to the basis of why you bought the shares in MTN in the first instance. And for many people, the reason why they bought into the MTN shares is the fact that, number one, MTN is the largest telecommunication company in Nigeria by a mile. The likes of Airtel, Globacom, Nine Mobile, and others come in, just behind MTN. They have a wide reach of customers across different geographical landscape of Nigeria. Beyond that, some people may have bought into MTN shares for sentimental purposes. They've been using the network since the inception over 20 years ago, and so they feel like this is an opportunity to buy into a company that they've given so much money. Whatever the reason for buying this business, I would say that that is the reason you should hold on to. If, again, I don't have a crystal ball into the future, in the next few weeks you see the price of MTN shares perhaps falling because some people want to make a quick buck. And I would also say that you should look at the big picture. What do I mean by the big picture here? We already established that MTN is the largest telecommunication company in Nigeria. And we know for a fact that the data usage in Nigeria is expanding. In fact, one of the things you'll notice is that MTN has a high price to earning ratio of about 17 or 18 thereabout, compared to other banks where you have 2, 3, 4 and so on price to earning ratios. And the reason for this is because MTN has been priced as a high growth business, and I think for good measure what is going to drive that growth for MTN is going to be the data that you and I use, right? So for example, if you're watching this video, you are either on YouTube or Facebook, and so you're consuming data, and that data goes to MTN as revenue, as data revenue. And this trend is not going to end. The remote work situation that we have right now with COVID and all of that, you're going to see continued increase in data usage. the Nigerian population is very young, and so of course with young people who embrace technology the more, you expect that the business MTN is going to continue to grow, whether it's data revenue, whether it's fintech revenue, and all of those specialized revenue that is going to drive this business's growth in the future. So I would say, please wait for the growth. The growth is not going to happen overnight. Wait for the growth. In fact, if you are a long-term investor and you have some extra money aside, if the share price ever falls below the price you've paid, perhaps you may consider, again, this is not financial advice, you may consider buying more shares in the business. And the reason is very simple. If you consider, when you did your original research, this to be a business for the future, then you should take advantage of any dips, if any, to increase your holding in the business. Alright, so this part is going to be a bit technical, but I would just really like to go through some numbers in the last 3 years by comparing MTN Nigeria to GT Bank and Zenith Bank. Again, there are very few telecommunication companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, so it may be unfair to compare MTN to GT Bank or Zenith Bank, but I would say GT Bank and Zenith Bank represent some of the best institutions we have in Nigeria, and so that's the reason why I'm comparing them. And what I'm comparing right now is the share price, the growth in the share price. And the reason why I'm doing this is I understand that some people have, for example, said that MTN is really overpriced because it has a PE ratio of about, I think, 17 or 18 PE ratio compared to the banks that have a PE ratio of 3.52 and 1.86. Now let me explain the concept of PE ratio very quickly if you do not understand it. The PE ratio is the price to the earnings. So in essence, you want to buy something, maybe you want to buy a car. How much can that car make for you? So in this case, you want to buy a car for 1 naira. As a minimum, the car should be able to make 1 naira for you. But in the case of MTN, the car is only able to make maybe 20 kobo, right? So the closer to 1, the better. The higher the PE ratio, it means the car is really very expensive and maybe you should consider buying cheaper cars. But I would say that for me, I think that the reason why the PE ratio of MTN is so high, just like I mentioned earlier, is because it's a high growth business. But also more importantly, I also think the reason why it's an expensive business is because the share price has been growing in the last couple of years compared to the share price of other businesses. Like I said, GT Bank in December 2018 was 34 naira. In 2021, the price is 25 naira. So if you invested in GT Bank in December 2018, based on the share price alone, you've lost money. The same thing for Zenith Bank, between December 2018 and December 2019, the share price dropped 20%, although it picked up 34%, right? So December 2018, the price of Zenith Bank was 23 naira, and in December 2021, as at 14th, it's 24 naira. So you can see that the price increase is not really a lot. GT Bank, you lost money. But in the case of MTN, in May 2019, the share price started at about 99 naira and has grown to about 186 naira that it is currently trading at. So that would explain, at least on a level, explain the high PE ratio of the organization. And another thing that other people will talk about is the dividend yield. The dividend yield is just saying, is just comparing the dividend per share that an organization gives out to its shareholders and comparing it to the market price of that share. I would really say that yes, the dividend yield of MTN, is really low. It's a management decision. Shareholders can always come around, eventually in the future as more people own the business, right? You would realize that the majority shareholder of MTN is still the MTN group, right? The MTN International. So it's understandable that, sometimes they may want to conserve cash, and reinvest in the business, rather than giving out dividends. But I think as more retail investors, institutional investors begin to purchase the shares of MTN, then of course they can mount pressure on the management to for example, increase the dividend yield from the current levels of about 7%, to maybe 14%, as the case of Zenith Bank. So, to bring it all together, congratulations again to everyone if you've just bought the shares of MTN. I really wish you the very best. I hope the shares of MTN continues to go up and up, and then you can make as much money as possible. But if that does not happen, I would say you should remember the reasons why you bought into the shares in the first instance. Look through the financial statements. Now that you're a shareholder, when they send you the financial statement, look at the financial statement. If they call for annual general meetings, try to participate in the annual general meetings. Familiarize yourself with what it means to own a truly Nigerian company. Eventually, it's going to become a truly Nigerian company, but familiarize yourself with what it means to own the shares of this entity that you now own, and then of course look at opportunities to increase your holding in the company, whether by buying on the secondary market, or in other markets. Alright, so that will be the end of this video. If you found value in this content, please feel free to like the video and share with your friends and family. Until next time, I'll see you guys. My name is Aide Alfred. Peace and bye.